Welcome to Anvers Estate Winery 2012 Harvest. Winemaker Wayne Cogan will tell us a little about the vines and the current harvest.
How are you? Very good, thanks.
Yeah, good one, Mad C.
Yeah.
We've got 20 acres of Shiraz,
Yep.
we've got 11 acres of Cab. So good quality,
Yep.
not a lot of fruit, but what's there is, I think, will be exceptional, really.
A number of the premium varieties, including the bush vine Grenache, are hand harvested, as you'll see later. But Anvers also utilises the latest in machine technology to bring in the fruit. One machine harvester does the job of 50 or 60 pickers, which can make an enormous difference to production.
It shakes the vine, so the fingers that are in there shake the vine as it goes over the middle, and it shakes the ripe berries off the stem. And it leaves 95% of the stems, it leaves on the vine, okay, and just takes the berry. But the other thing this machine does with the sorting table on the top, it's the most sophisticated harvester on the market today, is these are what we call the petioles, and that's where the leaf is joined to the vine. So that's part of the leaf, the stem of the leaf, and all these petioles usually go into the bin. And then when they ferment, you actually can get green, stalky flavours. If you've got too many of these, if you've got thousands of these in the fermenter, when you crush and they go in the fermenter, you can actually change slightly the flavour of the wine. It can be slightly more bitter because you've got all these petioles in. So this machine takes all the petioles out on this very sophisticated sorting table that's on the top of the machine. All automatic. And the other thing with this machine, you don't have to follow it with a tractor, with a bin. It has its own bins on board, so it collects all the fruit. It collects 1.5 tonne on one side and 1.5 on the other side. So it's got 2 big stainless steel bins, and you'll see shortly, it'll come out of the row when it's full. After it does 5 or 6 rows, it'll be full. It'll come out and it'll tip into our bins.
Keeping the birds away is handled in the traditional manner, and Wayne gets a helping hand from his neighbour Jeff. But it looks like his gun is bigger than he is. While the machine harvester does a great job, Wayne prefers the traditional method of hand picking throughout the vineyard.
6 rows of Shiraz, and there's 8 rows of Cabernet Sauvignon in the old vine plantings, and there's about half a row of the 1920 Grenache, which is what we're picking today. This is the end of the harvest basically, and this Grenache will be going to our fortified wines, so it will eventually become a fortified wine in many years to come. That's where the Grenache starts, as I said before, which was planted in 1920. So again, very old vines, they give great complexity, a lot of flavours. The old vines produce less, so you find that the complexity and the body of the wine is bigger and richer without you having to take bunches off halfway through the growing season. They naturally are in balance. See, These are probably about 17 bomé, 16, 17 bomé, which is the measurement of the sugar, the ripeness of the grapes. And when we're picking them for fortified wine is what the terminology we use. We can't use the word port anymore. Port can only be used by the Portuguese who make in Porto, who make the port. So we call it a fortified wine, and we make our rare tawny, which is fortified. We do our fortified Shiraz, which is 100% Shiraz grapes fortified into a vintage style. So we do a tawny style and a vintage style, and this will go into our tawny style, but it'll be in barrel probably for a minimum of 10 to 12 years before it will even be used by Anvers in our production. So the fortified wines are a very, very long process of having them in storage and letting them become thicker and richer as they reduce in the barrels and become more viscous. But you can see they're all very withered, and we call that bagging up. The berries are all very bagged up, and that's when they get to that stage, we know that they're very ripe. And you can see there's no disease in there. They're all the bunches are all very nice and clean, but nice and ripe, and that'll give us very high alcohol. These wines will probably end up, like most fortifieds, around about 19.5% alcohol. So you don't want to drink too many bottles of it in one night, okay?
The remainder of the harvest is to be hand-picked, and today they are gathering to bring in the 2012 Grenache.
There's 36 of the pickers in there today. Yeah. And a lot of them are backpackers from all around the world. That they're out here with working visas, and they do a lot of picking. So they go from grape picking to fruit picking to Brussels sprout picking and all that sort of thing. So this is one of our pickers. This is actually Eamon. He's here from Ireland for a couple of years, and he's actually a civil engineer in Ireland. And there's him and three friends of his have come out, and there's a couple of them on the other side there, and they're here doing fruit picking for the first few months, and then they'll be looking around for a job in their profession.
Wayne is in the thick of it, supervising everything and making sure there's less lip and more snip.
So this is Grenache, and these vines were planted in 1915, and Judy's the supervisor of the team. So there you go. Yeah. These are the bucket boys. With the gang boss.
With the day over, everyone gathers to watch the fruit come in and clean up from the day's work.
So the truck's here, ready to roll.
The winery is an hour's drive away from the vineyard, so the crates of fruit are being loaded onto a larger truck for the journey.